We have built our API. We wrote the code, we committed, we pushed it, and we built it. Now we are going to deploy it. But to deploy it, we are going to need to point it to the database. The database that we use in local development for testing is not going to be we are not going to be able to use it. So we need to could now provide a connection mechanism that allow you to automatically connect to the database that you have provided as a managed service. These connection mechanisms allow you to avoid showing password and generally secret. So let me show you how that works. So you would go to your component. This is my API component. And I would go to, I would create a new connection, connected managed services, new connection. I would give that a name. How could I call that? Wordle. Wordle DB. I already have one. Okay, so let's call it Wordle database to change. And the service is my PostgreSQL. So when I do this, it gives me 6 variables that called connection strings that I am going to use to configure my deployment. So let me show you how that would work. I'm going to duplicate that window so I can come back to this when I need to. And I'm going to go back to my component. I have, oh, sorry, I need to actually confirm. I've confirmed this is my connection and I have the connection properties. So the connection properties remind me of those 6 variables. All right, so let's use them. I want to deploy. my API. The first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create an application package. In this application package, I am going to say, I give this a version number, I am going to say what I am going to deploy. Meaning what components are going to be part of that package that is going to be deployed. So in this case, yes, I can deploy, let's deploy the latest version of the front end. Let's deploy, in fact, I'm going to deploy only the backend, just to show you how it's possible to pick for specific purposes. You can make specific package just to test one component separately from the others. When it comes to deploying into production, of course, you would put all the components that are used by the user. But observe here how I can deploy individually component to any environment that I want for specific purposes. So this enables typically to test individual component, not on the local laptop, but in the cloud, but individually. Okay, so let's, I think I'm good. I'm just going to show you, for example, I can put labels on my package. So I'm going to say that just the API, for example, and I'm going to put in green. There we go, confirm. That's it. I created my deployment, my application package. I can now directly deploy this package, and I have to pick which environment I deploy it into. So let's pick this environment because it's just the application package. So I'm going to keep this environment for individual components. I'm using this version. You can see the label here. Then I'm going to specify a deployment configuration. As you can see, this is a .NET convention, and in .NET, the deployment configuration file are called appsettings.json or appsettings.development.json. Here, I'm going to use this one because I am not in development. I click on Edit Configuration, and I'm modifying this one. So here I can modify my configuration file. But now I need to put, I need to use my connection string. So let me show you how that works. So now I'm going to, I have my environment, I have my application package, it's just API. I'm going to add the connection properties for the configuration properties for connecting to the database. And to do this, I'm going to modify the configuration file that is standard in .NET. And I do this with a connection string properties with a Wordle context field that, as you can see with the syntax, dollar and the variable name in curly braces. I can specify the host, the port, the database, basically all these 6 pieces of information. I can use them here in my configuration, in my deployment configuration. So as you can see, I'm using a password, I'm using a username, but I am not showing directly in my configuration what this password is, what this username is. This gives a level, an extra level of security. CodeNow will fill this in when it deploys. And the way CodeNow knows it has to fill it in is that when we deploy, so I'm going to confirm here. When we deploy, we are going to, yeah, this is fine. I can check that this has been taken into account. When I will deploy, I will jump to connect manage services. I will be able to say which service I want to connect to, which is which service I need to use the configuration properties to put in those variables. So it's the Postgre database, that's the managed service we used. And there is only one, so it's obviously that one. Once I've done that, I could deploy immediately. I just want to show you that I can also say when I deploy, I can say how many replicas I want of this component. I can have several components running in parallel. This is good for availability. It's good for also resilience. When one instance of the component will fail, there is still the other instance that is likely to be there. So that increases my availability, but also the application is not dead, and that second component who died will automatically be started again. That's the resilience part. Here there are other parameters that allow me to adjust the performance. The more memory, the more CPU that my component has, the faster it will be able to process and respond to requests. So this runtime configuration, as you can see, is very important when you are trying to implement non-functional requirement, which is precisely resilience, scalability, availability. This is what you can play on when you deploy to implement those non-functional requirements. The other remark I want to make is, as I discussed before when I was talking about architecture, this is done at the application level. So an application in CodeNow is a unit of deployment. So you are able to specify these parameters, number of instances, memory, CPU. You are able to specify them at the application level. So, and whenever you have a non-functional requirement that requires you to have this availability resilience at some level, you know that you have a boundary for which you may decide to create a CodeNow application. And that's, I can deploy. I already connected my managed service. I can just go and deploy. So let's go ahead and let's see what happened. So just a quick note, I can see the progress of the deployment. So currently this is out of sync. The deployment is in progress, so we just need to wait. Oh, it's synced. Okay, that's good stuff. and still progressing. So let's wait. And it doesn't work. After a while waiting, I see that this, let me go back to it. I see that I have a broken heart here. So that means some error occurred. That's great. That's great. That enables me to show you how to troubleshoot. So I would click on that, and I would have a look at the events that occurred. So you can see, yeah, the sequence of events that happened, and then suddenly it breaks here. The container has failed, and I have the log here, and I can see what happened. I can then open it in another window that's more practical, and I see what happened. Critical diagnostic application startup exception, host can't be null, right? So this means that the variables that I have defined, this one, so if you remember, let me go back to the connection string. Yes, I deployed this one. So this is, let me go back again. So this is the deployment configuration for the package that I just defined. It was 002. So I can find it here. I can find here the parameters I used when I deployed. It's saved. It's saved inside the user interface. So I can come back to it. So you see here, I call this Wordle DB host because I copy pasted from another application. And actually, that's not the variables that I should have used. I should have used Wordle database host. I changed the name because I created a new connection properties. You should never copy paste. It's the root of all evil. So I'm going to correct it. Database port, database username. It should be this one. Database password. Yeah, so I probably did that wrong. Port, host, that's correct. The username, database username, that's going to be this one. Password, actually I'm going to take this one, database name. Here, yeah, what happened? Okay. The password is here, and I think I did it all. Database, 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 and database. So yes, I think that will be fine. And I'm going to now confirm. I'm already connected it, so I can just deploy. And this time, hopefully, it's going to work.